We're here at Red Glasses again. Glad you're with us. So we're continuing to talk about a 2020 strategy for living. And so we've said over the last weeks that number one, you got to be born again. Jesus has to live in your life. Does he live in your life? You need to think about that. Number two, we got to remember the past. We got to remember the promises, the power, the procedures, the people. This all comes out of Joshua chapter 1, verses 1 through 9. Now today, we're going to take the next step and talk about you got to remember his presence. Joshua was an amazing leader. You need to study his life. In fact, I would encourage you to read the book of Joshua. The same instructions that the Lord gave to Joshua, he gives to you and me. For strategy for living, we need to pay attention to what he pointed out to Joshua. So strategy number 7 that we're going to look at this time, and then one more time after this, is we got to remember his presence. Now remember this. God is not in the business of deserting his people. God is not in the business of deserting you. If you read Joshua 1, verses 5 and 9, this is what you will read. Verse 5, no one will be able to stand their ground against you as long as you live, for I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Have you ever had the sense that God has failed you or abandoned you? Then look at verse 9. I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged. Why? For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You need to look at that real closely there. So here's some thoughts. Number one, God does close doors in our lives. Doesn't mean he's not present, but he closes some doors, and we need to be grateful sometimes that he does close certain doors. His promised presence does not preclude difficulties and even disaster. Our faith will be tested. We may even suffer. Hard work will be required. So you may not feel his presence, but Jesus, if he lives in you, he will always be present with you, no matter what the situation, no matter what's going on. And you need to know there have been times in my life when I have not felt the Lord was with me. I think back to when my sister at a very young age died. I can think when my little infant daughter, who only lived 3 or 4 days, died because she picked up a germ in the hospital. I can think of my dear wife, Ruth Ann, who, after 30 years of marriage, went to be with the Lord. I can think of when my sweet wife, Punky, came in and told me that she had breast cancer. But the fact was, and will always be, that he's going to be with me. So let's look at that again. Joshua chapter number 1, verse 5. No one will be able to stand their ground against you as long as you live. For I will be with you as I was with Moses. I will not fail you or abandon you. Verse 9. I command you, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Dear friends, that's a fact, and you can bank on it. You think about that.